I'm really excited about what our participants are going to get from station number 3. In this station, they're going to be looking at how to build healthy relationships with the students so that it has a positive impact on student learning. They're going to be talking about how to build the activation stage in their lesson planning so that they really hook the students really well and the students get maximum engaged in the lesson plan. And we're going to be talking about parent involvement, how to get our parents involved in a positive way in the classroom so that that has an impact on student learning as well. I know you've been around teachers and classrooms where there was a horrible relationship and how that might have had a negative impact on learning. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I remember this one time I was working with this teacher who really, we could just not get done what we wanted to get done because the students were so defiant against her. If I remember that class correctly, almost everything that was stated by the teacher was a negative statement. And so there really wasn't a lot of positivity going around, and I think the students may have felt like no matter what they do, it wasn't good enough or it wasn't a positive thing.
Yeah, you know, I was looking at, actually on Twitter not long ago, Doug Lemov, who is one of the resources that our participants are going to be looking at today. He actually made the statement that monitor and adjust and checking for understanding during a lesson actually does more for him to create positive relationships because he actually finds out a lot about students during that check for understanding phase of a lesson. So I'm kind of excited about what they're going to be learning and the positive impact it's going to have on the classroom. When we look at the lesson planning phase and they talk about how to activate the lesson so that the students get engaged and hooked, I really want them to focus on the presentation. You know, so many times we think about the content, we think about the resources, but we don't always think about the presentation. I was at a great restaurant not long ago and paid way too much for the meal. And there wasn't a lot of food in the meal, but one of the things that I remember was how beautiful the food was on the plate and the whole presentation at the table. And I think that for a lot of us as teachers, we could do well to practice that presentation of our lesson and how we actually present it to the students and improve engagement that way.
Yeah, I think those first 5 to 10 minutes, the way that you put it in the lens of the student really helps engage them and maximizes their interest and helps them value what they're learning. So presentation is certainly a big part of that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of something called Good Calls Home?
Good calls home. Well, I don't know if I ever received any of those, but I think I know what they mean.
Yeah, you know, I once worked for a principal who had a goal for all of us as teachers that every week we had to make at least 2 phone calls home to parents to say something good about their students. And we had to set that up, and he had a pretty strong accountability process to make sure that we did it. But I actually grew to look forward to those calls because none of us want to make the kind of calls where we're having to complain about student behavior. But on these particular calls, we had nothing to say but positive things about the students and the work they were doing in our classrooms. Parents loved getting those calls, and it always caught students off guard when they went home and the parents said, "Hey, got a call from your teacher today." I can just imagine the deer in the headlights look. That student freezes, and then they say, "And he said, you were a great student." And I enjoyed making those calls. When we talk about parent involvement, that's one of the things I want our participants to really focus on today. Good calls home. How can we build relationships with the parents so that it has a positive impact on the learning environment? Now, participants, today as you're working on your own to do a little inquiry-based learning and research into these 3 strong essentials for impact in the classroom, I really want you to dig in kind of deeply and look for ways that you can implement these in your own classrooms. And this is going to be an exciting time as you come back to the circle later on and demonstrate one of these 3 techniques and how you would use it in the classroom. We're excited to turn you loose now. Go learn stuff and see what you can do to improve the practice in your classroom.